In yesterday's video, we stumbled upon a tower called Tenpenny Tower. There, we learned that a group of ghouls were trying to gain access to the tower, but the owner of the tower, Alistair Tenpenny, refused to allow them in, partially for security, but also out of bigotry. He doesn't want to allow zombies, as he calls them, into his tower. After interviewing each of the residents of Tenpenny Tower, we found quite a diverse group of people. Some who see ghouls as mere zombies, some even wanting them to die. Others who were just ignorant about the nature of ghouls and hope that this conflict is not resolved violently. And yet others who have a lot of experience with ghouls, who have traveled with them, and are frustrated by the bigotry of the other residents. Ultimately, the security officer, Chief Gustavo, hired us to track down the ghouls and eliminate them. He said that they were holed up in the nearby train tunnels, but that they had barricaded the entrance. He recommended an alternative approach: to access the tunnels from the Warrington train yard. We find this train yard swarming with feral ghouls.
Over here.
After killing the ghouls, we can explore the exterior. We see a pod on the hillside overlooking the train yard to the south. Climbing the stairs and heading into the back door, we find a first aid kit right next to a sniper rifle. Looks like someone had been using this as a sniper's perch. A great spot for low-level players who want to clear the ghouls from a distance. We also find an ammunition canister, and a stash of Radaway, Radex, and railway spikes on a shelf behind the sniper rifle. Overlooking the train yard, we see a couple of elevated platforms or catwalks, and we see skeletons on them. We need to find a way up there. Jumping down, we can loot some of the ghouls we killed, and climb a staircase in the middle of the train yard. This leads us to a catwalk, but the catwalk is broken. It doesn't take us anywhere. So jumping down, we can instead explore this pod underneath it. Inside, we find a first aid box, Radaway, and railway spikes, with an ammunition box under the table. There was a second catwalk here, but we couldn't reach it from that stairway. However, I think I might be able to leap upon it from the nearby hillside, so heading out and going through a big broken part of the fence, we can leap from this wall to see if we can reach the catwalk. Sure enough, I managed to get it in my first try. At the very top, we find 4 skeletons. One is sitting on an ammo box next to a missile launcher. That's pretty high-tech weaponry for train security. I'm thinking maybe these might be the remains of U.S. servicemen who perhaps were in the middle of putting down a Union revolt when the bombs dropped. Or maybe it was simply a domestic disturbance. There's also a grenade box here with 2 bags of Radaway. Turning around and heading east, we find another first aid box by a skeleton and another grenade box. When done looting, we can jump down and head east. Here we find a metal door to the Warrington Tunnels. As soon as we enter, we find a skeleton holding an assault rifle. More evidence that something violent went on here as the bombs dropped. We can head out the door and turn east. Here we find a broken nook in the wall with another skeleton and a big pile of radioactive barrels sitting right on the tracks. It's no wonder then why the utility workers here likely went feral pretty quickly. Here we find the next ghoul. I guess they never tracked me down due to my stealth. It is finally at 100. After looting the corpses, we can continue to the east, turn north, and up some stairs to open a door. Here we immediately alert another ghoul.
Find them. Keep them dead. Over here. Got your back.
When the ghouls are dead, we can get to looting. Turning around, we see a shelf to the west. Here we find some railway spikes and another first aid kit. After looting the bodies, we can turn east into a little nook where we find another shelf filled with 2 ammo boxes, one of which is locked with a very easy lock. There's a corpse in a chair next to a pole in the middle of the room, and near to this is a first aid kit on a metal box. But that's it for this small room lit with sunlight. To continue, we have to go either north or east. Oh, which way? Well, let's go east for now. Rounding the corner, we see that our movement has alerted some nearby ghouls. Heading into the next room, we see that this wraps around to the room that the other path connected to. Sure enough, turning south, that's the doorway bathed in red light. We find ourselves in a generator room, but there appears to be no one here. Turning on our Pip-Boy light, we see 2 doors in this room. We'll open the first one to the northeast, and we see that it leads down to a train track. It's then, however, that we get attacked from behind.
Aha, there you are. Where? Had enough?
Not sure where this guy was hiding. We explored it all in there. But this glowing one taught us that the second door also leads to this same train track. When done, we can turn east. There's a series of connected ruined train cars completely blocking our path. We have to choose to travel on the left or the right of these train cars. This is going to block off some pathways for us. We'll try going left first. This leads to a portion of the track blocked up by rubbish, but we see that the tunnel continues on to the east. Looks like that's where we need to go. I don't want to miss anything though. So I'm going to turn around and go back south down the other side of those tracks. Here we find a skeleton next to an assault rifle, a stim pack, and an ammo box. These tracks continue down to the south, where we find a big pile of toxic barrels hiding more ghouls.
Found you.
When dead, we see that the tracks are blocked up, but there is a door to the west, locked with an average lock. After unlocking it, we find a supply cache. Another skeleton stuffed in here. Perhaps he was a utility worker, hiding from whatever troops came to restore order. Here we find 3 first aid boxes, 2 on a shelf and 1 on top of a stack of boxes, one of which is locked with an easy lock, and then 2 ammo canisters on the shelf. But with that, we realize that we've hit a dead end, so we need to retrace our steps back along the eastern side of this train and down that second track we saw. At the end, we find a feral ghoul reaver.
This one. Glad that's over.
When done, we can peer around to the other side of the train cars. Looks like we didn't miss anything. And here I reach level 30. At last I've maxed out this character. And as you can see with all the skill books and bobbleheads I've found, I've nearly made a completely perfect character. I'm gonna bump up unarmed, and then hopefully I'll be able to perfect my final 3 stats with skill books. For my final perk, I chose Almost Perfect, which raises all special stats that are below 9 to 9. If we wait to find our special stat bobbleheads until this point, we can easily get a perfect character with 10 into each special stat and 100 into each skill. At the end of this track, we see a door to the left, and we find the end of this track blocked up with rubble. So heading back to the door and opening it, we find a ghoul. After looting the corpse, we arrive at a split in the road. We can turn north, or we can go east. Red light or white light. We'll follow the white path first. This brings us down a staircase, where we find a ghoul. Ah! How far does that gas reach? I thought it was in the other room.
There. Like that?
Dogmate catches the scent of someone, so ignoring looting for now, we can move forward to try and find him.
Keep firing.
And they got him before I could. We arrive in a room bathed in natural sunlight from the ceiling. As we loot these ghoul corpses, we find a desk to the northwest with a stim pack on top of it. And now I'm curious as to where that other path with the red lights led. So going back up the staircase and back to that fork in the road, we can turn northeast towards the hallway lined in red lights. This brings us down some stairs to that very same room bathed in natural sunlight. Okay. so it just does a big loop. We find 2 first aid boxes on the shelf in this room and a door to the south, leading back out to Warrington Station. On the other side of this door, we see graffiti painted on the wall. The revolution starts here. Heading out to the tracks, the west is blocked, so turning east, we are just about to step out into a large, vaulted room when...
You there. Put your weapons away. Come over here. No funny business, unless you want to get shot.
This Michael Masters walks towards the top of a nearby escalator. Heading on over, we see a gate behind the escalator, but we'll talk with Michael first.
What are you doing here? It's not safe for your kind around here.
Whatever.
Apathy is the death of the soul. It's better to be angry as hell. It keeps things interesting anyway.
I can handle myself.
It's your own funeral then. Just remember that when you die alone. Then you just rot until some jackal comes and snacks on you.
Just passing through.
Just passing through? That's no way to live your life. You need a purpose, a goal. It's the only thing that keeps you from realizing how meaningless this shit-filled existence really is.
I'm here to see Roy Phillips.
Oh yeah? Is he expecting you? Well then, run along. It's not wise to keep Roy waiting. Has a bit of a temper, that one. You watch yourself.
So what are you doing in the metro tunnels?
I've been stomping around with Roy and his gang of misfits. Roy's a no-nonsense, take-no-prisoners kind of guy. He heard about this Tenpenny asshole, and now he's trying to get us in that tower. He's hatching some kind of plan to kill all those bigot bastards. Believe it or not, I used to vacation there.
So tell me, what's it like being a ghoul?
I wasn't always like this. I was a goddamn scientist. We were doing great things. Amazing things. Sure, sacrifices were required. Some people got hurt, but we were making real progress. But then those goddamn bombs dropped. Karma's a real bitch. You'd be wise to remember that.
You know, Gustavo back at Tenpenny Tower hired me to kill you.
Figures. He's Tenpenny's adorable lapdog, isn't he? So what's your angle in all this?
Anything you want to say before you meet your maker?
Karma's a fucking bitch, isn't she? Found you. There. Keep firing. Good riddance.
And if we kill him, we lose Karma. Alternatively, we can say, I don't have to kill you if you were to give me a handful of caps.
Open your eyes, kid. Does it look like I got a fortune? Now bugger off before I get angry.
He just ignores us and walks off. Or we can say, relax, it's just a warning, not a threat. I'm not going to kill you.
That's awfully decent of you, even if we already knew those bigoted bastards wanted us dead. Talk to Roy Phillips. You might be able to help us out.
And with that, he walks off. Okay, so he's just the guard. On this top area, we find a ticket booth. Inside the ticket booth are a bunch of ammo canisters and other containers, but they're all marked as owned, and we'll get in trouble if we try to steal them. Heading south, we see a tunnel that leads out to the terminal. Here we find another ticket booth, but this one is empty, and then we can pass through the turnstiles and then up a ramp through the gate to the entrance to Warrington Station. Hey, this is great news. Now we can fast travel if we ever want to come back to visit Roy and his ghouls. We see Tenpenny Tower just off in the distance. Great, so this is a shortcut. Heading back in, we can now try and follow Michael. Turning west down the escalator, we can go through the gate behind it. There's nothing in the rubble on the other track, so instead we can go down the eastern tunnel. This leads us to another derailed car, and here we find a door to the west, or we can follow the track to the south. We'll open the door to the west first. We arrive in some sort of office. 3 big recording machines are here. Going down some stairs, we see Roy and what appears to be his main squeeze. You know, I'm eager to talk to Roy, but I want to make sure that I've fully explored this station first. So heading back out and through the door, we can now travel south to continue exploring. The ghouls have erected some sort of ramshackle barricade. Passing through the barricade, we find more ferals.
I like that. I'm glad that's over.
As we creep forward to loot them, we get attacked by more to the east.
That takes care of that.
Heading east, we find a little nook off to the south. This is where those ghouls were hiding, and no wonder they went feral. Look at this. Who stored so many toxic barrels of nuclear waste in a metro tunnel? Turning around, we see that our only path forward is to sneak by some cars to the north. The tunnel is blocked with rubble, but we find a door to the east. This leads us back into the utility rooms. We see a desk to the south, and on it we find a big book of science. This is not set to owned, so we can feel free to loot this without stealing. In this room, there are 2 doors, one to the north and one to the south. If we open the door to the north, we go to the metro access and generator. Here we scale some stairs to arrive in a small room. But wait, what's that? That looks like a very familiar wide door. And upon inspecting it, we see that it's the containment door. And sure enough, turning around, we see that same grated window. On the other side of this wall is the utility room behind Tenpenny Tower. And at last we've connected the dots. Inside this room we see the generators off to the northeast and the terminal to the northwest. This terminal must control the containment door, the same containment door we found in the utility room inside Tenpenny Tower. Which means that if we unlock this door, anyone in Warrington Station would have direct access to Tenpenny Tower. At last, we begin to understand exactly what Roy meant when he said that he would be back. But the terminal is in a utility room behind the Tenpenny wall, which means Roy will need access to Tenpenny Tower before he can open this door. Retracing our steps, we can head back to Warrington Station and this time open the door to the south. This leads us to a staircase leading down to a long winding tunnel. This tunnel eventually leads to a long rectangular room. There are 2 ways forward. First, we can open the door to the north. This leads to a storage room. We find ammo canisters, stacks of darts, but now everything is owned again. Looks like we're getting close to the Ghouls' home. We find a huge stack of railway spikes and a copy of Dean's Electronics. We'll have to bear that in mind for later. But this is a dead end, so going back out into the rectangular room, we can go west up some stairs. This leads to a door, which opens up to the Ghouls' living quarters. We see cigars smoking on the nearby tables, lots of tin cans, cups, empty bottles of whiskey. Looks like the Ghouls are sleeping. In a little nook to the east, here we find 2 beds. On a shelf next to some cherry bombs, we find a copy of Pugilism Illustrated, another magazine to keep in mind for later. Lots of containers and scraps, 1 ammo box. And moving west, we find a bunch more beds. We even find a baby carriage nearby. This room opens out through a doorway to the east, leading us up some stairs and into a tunnel. Here we bump into Michael Masters, and we finally find Roy Phillips.
What do you want?
So I killed a bunch of crazy ghouls in the metro tunnels.
So you killed a bunch of feral ghouls? Is that supposed to sound impressive? I got no compassion left for those mindless freaks. But they were a nice deterrent keeping out smooth-skinned bastards like yourself.
So what are you doing in the metro tunnels?
Biding our time, making plans, getting ready. Tenpenny and his pack of elitist wannabes can't keep us out of that tower forever. We've got rights, and we'll take them if they aren't given to us.
It's Tenpenny's tower. He can do whatever he wants.
Not sure where you come from, kid, but out here in the wasteland, everything's up for grabs, and you only get to keep what you can hold on to. Tenpenny didn't build that tower. He found it, and took it from whoever used to own it. Now we're gonna take it from him. We tried playing nice, but they shot at us. Fuck them. It's time for them and their bigot ways to die.
You're secure in these tunnels. Why try to get into Tenpenny anyway?
Ghouls aren't built for luxury and comfort, is that it? You think ghouls belong scurrying around in the dark, dank underbelly of the wasteland? You got a lot of nerve.
It's really not any of my business. Sorry I asked.
You're right. It's none of your business. You best get out of here, kid, before something ugly happens.
You're a zombie. People should shoot you.
Oh, yeah? Fine. It's on. Opening fire.
With that, he turns hostile, as do his friends. And if we have the Contract Killer perk, we find an ear on his corpse. This is the polar opposite to the Lawbringer perk. With the Contract Killer perk, we find ears that we can collect on the corpses of good karma characters, which means Roy is good? That may confuse a few players. Or we can say, whatever, you're no better than Tenpenny.
If I'm no better than Tenpenny, then he should let me into that tower. But he won't, so I'm busting in.
Whatever, I'm leaving.
That's the smartest thing you've said since you met me.
So tell me, what's it like being a ghoul?
You better choose your next words really carefully, 'cause you're starting to piss me off.
Never mind.
Right. I thought so. I'm warning you. I don't take shit from no one.
I didn't mean to offend. I'm not prejudiced.
Sure, whatever you say. You pretentious two-faced asshole.
Whatever.
Didn't think so.
You're the prejudiced bum, not me. So you're ugly. Big deal.
Maybe I misjudged. Pardons. So yeah, people treat us like shit. But it just makes us stronger. Otherwise, we ain't no different than anyone else that had the misfortune to live past infancy.
No, really, I mean it. I don't care if you're a ghoul or not.
Fine, whatever. Being a ghoul ain't anything worse than any other thing somebody's got to deal with. Like your stupidity, for example. You can't help it. You were born stupid, or dropped on your head as a kid. Either way, it ain't nothing you can change. So you deal with it.
You eat people's brains, right? So what's it like being a zombie?
You got balls. Really big ones. I'll assume you're kidding, 'cause no one shit-talks me and lives. We ghouls are just like the rest of you. Shit out of luck and doing our best to make it.
You know, Gustavo hired me to kill you.
Is that so? He isn't man enough to do it himself. Sends a girl to do his dirty work. Think you got what it takes?
I don't have to kill you. If you were to give me a handful of caps.
You picked the wrong ghoul to fuck with, kid. Can't I fight? There's more where that came from.
And again he turns hostile. Or we can say, anything you want to say before you meet your maker?
Yeah. Fuck you. Welcome back to the party. It's your turn.
Or we can say, relax. It's just a warning, not a threat. I'm not going to kill you.
I see. That's smart of you. I'd lay you flat if you tried anything stupid. So don't. Tenpenny and his pack of elitist wannabes are in for a real treat soon enough. They can't keep us out of that tower forever.
I might be able to get you in there.
I already got a plan. They think I'm a monster? I'll show them the real monsters. We'll unleash our feral brethren on them. All those bigoted sons of bitches will get torn apart. Trouble is getting past the damn subway access door. You see, there's some kind of escape door that leads from the Tenpenny basement to the subway tunnels. There must be some way to get that open.
Good luck with that. I'll have none of it.
You got a lot to learn, kid. A lot. Like, for instance, how not to piss off an angry ghoul. You best get out of here before I get real ugly.
Let me try talking to Tenpenny. Maybe he wouldn't mind you living there.
Those snooty bitches probably can't stand living with each other, let alone with us. But by all means, try talking to Tenpenny if you like. But it won't work. Then we'll do it my way. You get that escape door in the Tenpenny basement open, and I'll unleash those ferals on them.
Right on. Kill those elitists. I think I can help you with that escape door.
Now you're talking my language. All right, here's the plan. I'll gather up a horde of ferals and wait for you by that escape door. You find a way to get it open, and then we'll sit back and enjoy the show.
Well, maybe I should talk to Tenpenny. There may be a peaceful solution.
Try it if you like. Go talk to Tenpenny. Ask him if he wants us living there. It won't work, so when you fail, we can do it my way.
This is gonna be fun.
Indeed. Remember, I'll be waiting for you to get that door open. Don't keep me waiting long, kid.
Well, now we have some options. Moving through the southern door, we find a woman standing in the corner. This is Bessie Lynn.
Oh, hello. I'm Bessie Lynn. I don't think you should be down here. Did you talk to Roy? I hope you know what you're doing. You could get in a lot of trouble by coming around uninvited.
We can say nothing.
Oh, all right then. Kinda shy, aren't you? I don't mind that. It's nice to have someone to talk to who listens, you know. Am I babbling again? I tend to do that when I'm nervous.
Or we can say, I'm trouble. That's all you need to know.
Oh, my. I guess I was just trying to be nice. Am I babbling again? I tend to do that when I'm nervous. Oh, you don't make me nervous. I mean, Roy says not to show weakness. Have you met Roy? He's killed lots of people before. I'm his gal. He protects me. So better not try anything.
Nice to meet you, Bessie. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine.
I wouldn't want to see anyone get hurt. You must be pretty tough to get past all the ferals. They tend to leave us alone, but someone like you... Am I babbling again? Roy tells me I shouldn't do that.
So what are you doing in the metro tunnels?
Roy is coming up with a plan to get us into that tower. Tenpenny's. Says it's only a matter of time. He's strong like that. He never gives up. The kind of guy who makes things happen, Roy is. That's why the others follow him. Me, I just like the way he looks at me. Makes me feel pretty again. I'd go anywhere with him.
So tell me, what's it like being a ghoul?
Oh, well, it's not so bad, I guess, once you get used to it. But it's not like before. I used to be pretty, you know. Everyone used to come around all the time. People stop wanting to be around you, though. When it starts to happen. When you start to change, I mean.
You know, Gustavo hired me to kill you.
Please don't hurt me.
I don't have to kill you, if you were to give me a handful of caps.
Oh, well, we don't really have much, help! Over here.
Don't mess with me.
With that, she and the others turn hostile. Or we can say, relax. It's just a warning, not a threat. I'm not gonna kill you.
Oh, sorry, I just assumed. Well, most people would prefer if we ghouls didn't exist. If you want to help us, talk to Roy Phillips.
With that, we have met the ghouls in the Warrington station. I got the impression by talking with the residents that there were more ghouls here. But no, that's it. There are only those three. Roy, his girlfriend Bessie, and their guard Michael. 3 ghouls compared to over half a dozen residents. We have quite a moral dilemma ahead of ourselves. We now have 4 options. We can kill the ghouls. We can kill the residents. We can open the containment door and allow Roy and his feral friends to do the work for us. Or we can try to find a more diplomatic solution. We'll explore all potential outcomes in tomorrow's video. I publish a new Fallout video 6 days a week on a wide range of topics spanning all of the games. If you want to make sure you don't miss my next episode, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. I've got a new shirt in the shop, folks. Patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter. We've got a beautiful painting of a 2-headed bear running, and this picture comes in 2 versions, one with a California star. I also have another quote available. We won't go quietly. The Legion can count on that. I have dozens of other designs in my shop. My shirts come in an array of colors and in a variety of sizes. I also have a bunch of products besides shirts. If you're interested, you can find a link to my shop in the description below, or you can click here. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. But more than anything, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, with episode 3.